spectators want to restart, we must keep a walkway open all the way through the concourse today, please.
Kentucky won last in 2016. It's 9 years in a row. So 16, 17, 18, 19. So they obviously didn't do it in COVID year. So they've won 8 in a row.
Yeah, tell me about you may not look at that.
Yeah, because 19, 21 to 19, and then 18, 17, and then 16 they won.
Spectators, anybody would like to order corsets or shirts that we were selling, Mandy will have the order forms. We will keep the order forms open until lunchtime. After lunchtime, the order forms will close.
non-stop bowling action with Savage Bowling TV. Your front row seat awaits. To the biggest scratch tournament events, incredible drama, intense matchups, and unforgettable moments.
And a strike to finish it. Doty Cup, hello, Evansville North, your state title.
Whether you're a die-hard fan or you just love the game, Savage Bowling TV delivers all the excitement straight to your screen. Stay tuned. It's time to roll.
Before you go to lunch, please see Chris back in the game room.
Hello, bowling fans, and we're back on the air with high school bowling. This is Scott Gilmore, Chad Lester here on the broadcast booth for Savage Bowling TV, and today we're at Dixie Bowl down in Louisville, Kentucky for the Kentucky-Indiana rivalry here.
Team event, you will stay on the same pair all
And
3 games for team event.
Every other year, it's in Kentucky, then it's in Indiana, and this year we're back at Dixie Bowl and glad to be back here bringing you all of the action here this afternoon. Team event getting ready to get underway. Teams will bowl 3 games, and then we'll have singles matches after that, and then we'll have a top 4 stepladder when it's all said and done at the end of the day. So a lot of bowling action here on Savage Bowling TV. Mike Albee will join us in the broadcast booth later on this morning for the singles portion of the event. We'll look forward to have Mike's knowledge and expertise here bringing you all of the action with us as well this afternoon. Before we get underway, teams bowl 3 games on 1 pair, so no movement here. What you see on your screens, we're at 17 and 18 for the girls and 21 and 22 for the boys. We'll be bringing you all 3 games from those 2 pairs as the players bowl all 3 games on 1. They bowl on every other pair. So 23 and 24 dark, 19 and 20 dark for this 3-game set. When it's all said and done, when you tally up the scores, we'll find out who will be the overall winner. And Indiana right now, from my knowledge and looking at the history book here, is undefeated in the last 8 tournaments. So Indiana on an 8-year streak. And can Kentucky get off the schneid? They haven't won since 2016. Obviously, we didn't bowl in COVID. 2020, they took that year off. But last time Kentucky has won was 2016. Let's go over quickly the lane assignments here for this event. And we'll start off with the girls on lane 9. For the girls, Shelby Webb, Riley Ramage, Kaylee Blaine, and Kendall Craig. This is the Kentucky lineup. Lane 17, Bailey Woolsey, Samantha Pierce, Alyssa Bechtal, Abigail Hamilton. On 25, Olivia Hicks, Tristan Raymer, Mallory Luna, Danica Lyons. And on lane 33, Madison Hatfield, Phoenix Newkirk, Caitlin Nelson, and Jaden Hunting. Now the Indiana girls on lane 10, Sophie Coker, Alina Rodriguez, Cheyenne Beachboard, and Alexa Escamilla. On lane 18, Zoe Bostic, Madison Souls, Addison Boyles, and Laura Worthman. On 26, Alyssa Cash, Allison Holden, Autumn Strode, Morgan Morales. And on lane 34, McKenna Morales, Sophia Monroe, Corby Smock, and Tori Beeman. Tori, your Queens champion here from this past season in Indiana. Now the Kentucky boys. On lane 5, Austin Nelson, Jackson Kuiper, Blake Ackerman, Connor Woolsey. On lane 13, Jacob Luna, Dylan Davis, Maddox Kurla, Brandon Paget. On 21, Ashton Evans, Noah Wright, Isaiah Willis, Hayden Fowler. And on lane 29, Ryan Childers, Bane Hutchins, Curtis Bumgarner, Gardner, and Damian Barnett. Now the Indiana boys. Lane 6, Madden Alley, Leighton Rauch, Dakota Brennicky, and Dylan Alvarado. Dylan, your Masters champion here for the Indiana Masters and Queens event. Isaiah McClure, Gary Ebersold, Teddy Everett, and Riley Spear, lane 14. On lane 22, right here in front of us, Jordan Marshall, Tyler Cahill, Micah David, and Jordan Bowerly. And on lane 30, Ismail Matuk, Israel Luna, Reed Wendholt, and Maiken Habegger on lane 30.
that is your pairs here this afternoon. I should say this morning. Bright and early, 9:15 a.m. So, but Chad, this has always been a great event, the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars. And we've had a lot of exciting action in this event. A lot of big names, especially on the Indiana boys side. You got to figure on the boys, the Indiana boys are a big favorite, especially when you look at the roster and you see players like Jordan Bowerly, Riley Spear, Dylan Alvarado, Jordan Marshall, to name a few. That squad's pretty loaded. And then the girls, I'm not 100% sure. We do have some new names, some freshmen here that are bowling in this event for the first time. And so it ought to be interesting to see what will take place on the girls' side. Obviously, Corby Smock, we've seen a lot in the stepladder finals of the state tournament for the girls' side, but I think it could be a dogfight on the girls.
Yeah, the girls is usually the one that's the closest, I think, between Indiana and Kentucky. So we're definitely going to see a close match between them. The boys, you know, Indiana's got a lot of talent. Kentucky's got a lot of talent that's here. So it's kind of nice for us because, you know, we follow the Indiana bowlers and then see all these great Kentucky bowlers, you know, come together and for this event. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we don't, and obviously we're not going to be biased even though we're from Indiana.
Right.
We just don't know the players from the high school ranks down here in the Kentucky area. And obviously we do have some history here on some of the players, and we'll go through each player, especially those on our featured pair. And
oh, they gave us bios. Pretty cool.
yeah, we'll try to learn a little bit more about each player. So anyway, hopefully we can bring you some knowledge and some history and some information on each of our participants on the pairs in front of us. We hope you enjoy the broadcast here this morning. We're going to be here all day until we get done with the singles and crown a champion here at the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars. You know, looking at some of the players, Ashton Evans from Kentucky here, he is on 21-22, high series of 722, 279, 188 average. This is his first year in the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars. Always good to see that. And then Bane Hutchins, he's got a high game of 299. This is his first year too, Chad. 203 average, so some youngsters here on the Kentucky side. Curtis Bumgardner, first year as well, 194 average on the season. And then Damian Barnett, this is his first Indiana-Kentucky All-Star appearance. He does have a high game of 300 with a 777 series, 203 average. So some new faces for Kentucky here on the boys' side in the pair right in front of us. And that are your four from Kentucky here that you'll be seeing a lot of in this three-game set since the players don't move. Now on the boys' side on lane 22, there's a lot of familiar names for Russ. You have Jordan Marshall. This is his first, surprisingly, this is year one of the All-Star appearance for him. And Jordan coming off a really good high school season for McCutcheon, averaged 205 this past season with a high series of 742. He's been bowling quite a while. And then you look at Tyler Cahill on this pair, and we'll try to find Tyler. There he is. You know, a lot of young bowlers here on in this series. And Tyler, 195 average with a high game of 299. Micah David, another young player with his first year experience in this event, 197 average, does have a high game of 300. And then a name a lot of people are familiar with in Indiana, not only from the high school ranks, but his father, John Bowerly, but Jordan Bowerly, 230 average. He had 2 300s, and he's got a high series of 812. This is his fourth year bowling in this, so a lot of experience. And as you look at those players, you got to feel like the Indiana team is really leaning on the experience that Jordan has in this event.
For sure.
Now on the girls' side for Indiana on lane 17, And we'll get to that information here on lane. We're on 17 and 18 for the girls. On lane 18 for the girls, we have Zoe Bostic. This is her first year, but she's got an incredible average of 221. Bowl great this past season. Madison Souls has, this is her first experience. Excuse me. And she has a average of 177 with a high series of 695. And then we also have on this pair Addison Boyles with her first year 198 average with a high series of 692. And then Lauren Worthman. This is her first year, high average of 186. And she has a high series of 617. So some young names here on the girls' side. And now on the Kentucky side, on lane 17, we have Bailey Woolsey. And Bailey is a first-year player here in this event with a high series of 635. Samantha Pierce, another first-timer, 173 average, 602 high series. Then you have Alyssa Bechtal. And this is her second year with a high series, Chad, of 755, high game of 300. And she's averaging 188 on the series. So one of the big leaders here for the Kentucky girls. And then Abigail Hamilton. This is her fourth year, Chad. So she's one of the leaders here in this event. 756 high series, 290 high game with a 212 average. So look for high scores maybe here from Abigail. And obviously experience does mean a lot here in these events. So important to see where all these girls end up at.
Yeah, and I look at some of the ages of these bowlers. First of all, I wasn't bowling these scores when I was this age. And I bet you weren't either. But, you know, some of these kids are in middle school, and just think of, like, they're making this tournament now. How many years do they have, you know, they can make it several years in a row, more than 4. 6, 7, 8, you know, depending on where they're at. But that's pretty amazing scores by these bowlers at such a young age.
Yeah,
we truly have the best of the best.
Yeah, the talent has really changed. Players are so much more experienced. Coaching is so much better. And very impressive on what the abilities of these players are at such a young age.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then you have the equipment, you know, has advanced in technology. That plays a factor in someone's ability to pick this game up quicker. And then, like you said, the coaching, the knowledge. Heck, you have YouTube out there that there's all kind of coaching stuff for you on YouTube. Kids can go watch that stuff and learn.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing at how quickly these kids can catch on. But the other thing too is, Chad, is the two-handed game has really changed the game.
Well, it has, you know. When you have that much power, it creates a lot more room for these bowlers. And you know, love it or hate it, it's here to stay. But
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. If it's what's going to keep the sport going and alive, then I'm all for it.
Well, one thing to keep in mind is team-wise, they're also bowling for their own four bowlers. So the 4 bowlers on the pair are bowling the team individually. They're trying to win the team portion of the event. And then they take the scores of all players, and that's how you get the overall. But they're bowling for a team win here as well, these individual 4-person pairings.
Yeah, and this is, I don't know if you mentioned it, but these 3 games right here determine the seeding for match play this afternoon.
Yeah, there's so many elements in these 3 games. A lot going on for these players. You're bowling for yourself, then you're bowling for your team, and then you're bowling for the overall.
Yeah, for your state.
Yeah. So a lot of pressure on these players here in these 3 games that you are watching here this morning. And we also want to thank Lane Talk for providing scoring here at Dixie Bowl. And obviously this is a Indiana State USBC sponsored event.
Yep.
Even though it's high school, the Indiana State board puts this on, and we thank them as well. And one thing we do want to thank all the sponsors of the Indiana State USBC this past season, as this is the final broadcast of the bowling calendar year for us. And we thank you for watching all of our events throughout the year, and we look forward to bringing you more bowling action in this next season, starting with the Indiana State Masters in October. Those dates just posted.
Yeah, Indiana Senior Masters in October. We'll be
Indiana
back on
Senior Masters, yeah, that's right.
We'll be on the air August 16th for the high school bowling storm doubles.
That's
at
right.
Mike Albie's Arrowhead Bowl.
Yep, we'll be back at Mike's place. And we'll also be on the air here in a couple of weeks.
Next weekend.
We'll bring, actually next weekend. It's hard to believe.
Hall of Fame.
Time flying by. We're already halfway through the month of June already. But we'll be at the Indiana Hall of Fame banquet down in Indianapolis, and another great class being inducted. And one of the guys that I know quite well, Mark Hunt, and obviously Mark has been in the bowling community for a long, long time as a former GM down at Hindle Bowl, and glad to see Mark get inducted. A great guy, and also, you know, we like his daughter too as well.
Oh yeah, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa
Former
Seyfarth,
Purdue bowler.
former Purdue bowler, and so
Great bowler, herself.
Yeah, bowled real well at the Queens
Queens.
this past year. I believe, was she not the #1 qualifier?
She was.
Yeah.
And then she went. I can't say how far she went, but
She
made a
quite.
run.
She made a deep
Yeah.
run in the. She lost early and then
Yeah.
made a deep run in the losers bracket this past year. But you know, great to see Mark inducted into the Hall of Fame, and we hope you tune in for that as well. But I want to thank our sponsors of all the Indiana State USBC events, Brunswick, for the latest releases and product information. Like them on Facebook at Brunswick Bowling or go to brunswickbowling.com. Mike Albie's Arrowhead Bowl, bowling games, billiards, birthday parties, corporate events, and more. What are you waiting for? Arrowheadbowl.com. A1 Automotive, keep your vehicle running like new. A1CarDoctors.com. Pinheads Entertainment Center, they have it all. Bowling, games, birthday parties, corporate events, and private suites. Go to bowl@pinheads.com. And Tim Mack's Victory Lane Pro Shops. Don't settle for anything less than victory. Locations inside Royal Penn Woodland, Western, and Expo in Indianapolis, and Championship Lanes. Enjoy bowling, games, and great food at the Premier Family Fun Time Center in Anderson. No matter the occasion, an outing at Championship Lanes is sure to be fun. Also, Championship Lanes and Mike Albie's great hosts of some of these events. We'll be at Mike Albie's Arrowhead Bowl again in November for the Indiana Scratch Classic.
Yep, November 2nd. That was just posted. So we usually do the Sunday events, the finals, and I think it's lots of qualifying squad and all the finals.
Yeah, so a lot of bowling action coming your way in the next bowling season, but we'll take a couple of months off here from action, and hope you guys enjoy your summer. Enjoy today's broadcast once again of the Indiana Kentucky All-Stars from Dixie Bowl here in Louisville, Kentucky. And Jordan Bowerly had the front three here, and now looking at a split here in the fourth. The 3-6, and he makes it. Nice spare conversion for Jordan. Tyler Cahill off to a great start too, Chad. Spare three-bagger. Now Jordan Marshall from McCutcheon in Lafayette. Man, what a strike there.
Kind of a rough start.
Well, he started out with a double and then a little mistake there.
Yeah.
6-2 split, come back with a spare, and now a strike again in the fifth. 4 people on a lane, 8 on a pair, and it will go pretty quick.
Especially if they're throwing strikes.
Now Tyler Cahill here on the right lane. Hayden Fowler off to a great start, too, for Kentucky. 3-bagger spare. Another two-hander here for Indiana. Ooh, solid 10. Tyler from Lafayette, too, Chad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I only knew that because I kind of looked at the back of his shirt.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. I was watching him bowl, not reading the name on the back or anything like that.
I cheated. Oh, what a great break there.
Nice.
For Noah Wright there, great break. That gives him a double. You would think in past times, Kentucky would have a little bit of advantage. This is their home field.
It is.
Obviously, players, you know, when you bowl in a bowling center, your career, your high school or young career or older career, you come back home to it, or it's here. You feel like you know the characteristics of the house, what pairs do what, but you're also just comfortable.
Right, right. Yeah, you got to figure some of these bowlers from Kentucky are used to this bowling center, whether they bowl here in their normal competition or, you know, made it through their high school, bowled maybe regional, semi-state, or state here. Obviously, everybody from Kentucky is not from, it's from everywhere, so.
Well, Micah David here with a 2-8-10 split. He'll take the 2-8 for count. That's a 9 fill. He'll have 83 in the 5th. You know, the one thing nice about some of these younger players, too, like Micah and Tyler, they get, when you have players like Jordan Marshall and Jordan Bowerly on your pair, you can learn a lot from them, right?
Yeah.
They can. These guys know how to read a lane pretty quick. Now, obviously, Jordan being the only left-hander, but Jordan can help his other teammates get lined up, and there is just raw power from Mr. Bowerly.
And if I'm right, these teams, they were, depending on where you finished in the Masters and Queens, you got to be a captain, and they had a draft for these teams on the Indiana side.
Jordan Marshall right back with a strike. Double up here now for the lefty from Lafayette, Indiana.
Nice shot. Nice, simple game. Just play straight up the boards.
You know, if I'm Tyler Cahill and Micah David, I'm asking Mr. Bowerly all the questions I can. I'm absorbing any information he's willing to give me. You can learn a lot from other players, especially those with a lot of experience.
And you got to figure when they do the draft, they're picking players they're familiar with or friends with, and now whether they communicate, you know, and help each other, that's different. But usually kids at this age, you see that happening a lot.
Well, and that makes it fun for the players too,
does.
right? I mean, you're drafting, you're trying to pick not only good players, but like you said, your friends, your guys that you mesh with, right? Because you're on the same pair for 3 games, so you got to break them down, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously, we have a pair of Jordans, and
it's the same way on the Kentucky side. I'm sure they're bowling with people they know or match up with game-wise.
Because this is your team. You're trying to win the individual team as well.
Yeah.
Just a lot of prestige in this event. Been going on for such a long time as Noah Wright misses the 2-8 spare, taking the 2 off, leaving the 8.
Yeah, and if you go back through history and look at some of the names, I mean, you see a lot of names.
I'm going to guess, you're on the girls' side right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess on the boys' side that
you're going to
see a Tackett maybe, or
I know Matt Sanders.
Yeah, no EJ Tackett on the. Oh, you got the boys there.
I just got to the boys, so yeah, EJ was in this.
I mean, Corey Hirsch comes to name.
Yeah.
One I see right away.
Whoops.
Yeah, EJ.
In 09, and then
Zach,
Zach
12, 13, and 14.
3 years.
Yeah. Scott Tucker,
Yeah.
name we're
97,
familiar.
98,
97 and 98, good friends of ours.
Our very good buddy Scott Savage, 98, 99, 2000.
Yeah, TJ Schmidt in 08, 09.
And I thought Matt Sanders for 4 years, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Well, 12, 9, 10, 9, 11, 12, 14. Sorry.
Zach Weidman, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14.
On the boy side, I know there's someone in here we're very familiar with who was in this quite a long time, Daniel Farish.
Yeah, in 04, 05, 06, 07, 08.
He did the broadcast with us 4 years ago here.
Yeah, always appreciate Daniel's insight. Very knowledgeable on the game. Worked a little bit for Bowl TV as well in his younger days.
Just looking at some of these names that have been here more than 4 years. There's Kyle Rogers, it was 6 years, 6 appearances for Kentucky.
Yeah, it's fun to look through the names here
Of
of
all
all
the
the
history.
great players that have bowled here. And pretty impressive list. Obviously, Riley's brother Ryan in 19 bowled here. And looking to see, it's, you know, we didn't have these when I was younger. Mikey Schlaball, another great player up in the northern part of the state in Elkhart area. And a lot of guys that I remember seeing too. Kyle Weedman from West Lafayette, as well as we look through some of the names here. And then this is the fun part of this event.
Craig Lamont.
Yeah.
Joe Massey. Wow, we bowled youth with him. 99.
Yeah, Jeff Mann, another name we're really familiar with, and 16 through 19 bowled in this event. And just a lot of great players. Scotty Kramer the third in 2018.
I see Clint Million here in 02.
Yeah.
And Landon was last year. Landon was
Yeah.
here last year.
Clint, a Indiana Masters champion.
So, I mean, pretty cool. That's Landon is Clint's, is that his son maybe?
Yeah, I
So
believe
that's pretty cool,
It's,
father
or,
and son.
or cousin, one of,
Yeah.
or nephew, I mean.
Still a family member.
Yeah.
Luke Mathis, Bailey Maverick.
Yeah, Luke Mathis in 05 and 07. Gentlemen, Luke drills my stuff over at Top Score Bowling in Greenfield. So a lot of, it's just fun to go back and look at all the history. Jason Beck, a lot of Purdue bowlers too as well when you go through this list and you see everybody. And really cool to look back at the history, and we obviously thank them for giving us all this information. So
Yeah, it's cool that they've kept all the history.
well, that's the important part of the event,
It is.
in my opinion. Zach Rhodes, another person
Yeah.
from
Really talented
Lafayette. We bowled with his dad for a few years.
bowler. Won
Jim.
a league championship.
Yeah. And if I remember right, Zach's also got an eagle in the USBC Nationals
Yeah.
team event, I believe. Can't remember what year he won it. Jimmy Ogden I see on that list too as well. In 04, 05, 07, he's from our area. So a lot of, it's just fun when I can sit here and look at these names, and it's amazing how many of them are all major players.
In the adult world now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, looking at the scores here on the boys' side, but now we're back on 17 and 18 on the girls. Got some strikes up here, Madison Souls and Addison Boyles. A couple of doubles working. Lauren Worthman bowling real well until that 7th frame split there. I think it'd be really cool, and I know it would take a little bit of time, but it'd be really neat to see them after 2 games, then put them head to head with the team that they're like the first place Kentucky, first place Indiana boys, and same with girls, and you go down that way. be a lot of fun to see how close these teams are. As Jordan Marshall here right in front of us now with the 4-bagger. Jordan Bowerly with 6 strikes and 7 frames. He's on a roll after that little hiccup there in the 4th frame, but he covered the split. And now got some Kentucky guys bowling real well too here on our pair right in front of us. So far 21-22, looking like a good pair, as Hayden Fowler with 5 strikes and 7 frames, and Ashton Evans started off with open, Chad, but he has thrown 5 in a row as Tyler Cahill now strikes for a 3-bagger. And I'm telling you, this team in front of us here on the boys' side on Indiana really bowling well.
Yeah, looking at the scores around, this pair's definitely look like it's the highest around us. I mean, obviously we're just past the halfway point of the center, so.
Looks like we got front 7 down here on the boys' side.
Yeah, I see that now.
And that's
It was a
Ismail.
glare.
Ismail Matuk looks like with the front 7 down on 29 and 30.
And if he gets any farther, we'll try to get a camera down there.
Looks like on the girls' side too, looks like Morgan Morales with a spare open, but now she has 5 in a row here on 25 and 6. As Hayden Fowler just came in just a skosh high, leaving the 4-pin. Now Jordan Bowerly here in front of us. That's wide right, but it comes screaming back and just rips the pocket for a strike here. And you'll see that on the far right side of your screen here now as we're on 17 and 18 on the girls' side. Lauren Worthman now with back-to-back open frames after her good start. Game 1, just game 1, folks.
2 more to go.
Scott Gilmore, Chad Lester here in the broadcast booth. Savage Bowling TV bringing you the Indiana-Kentucky All-Star event from Dixie Bowl here in Louisville, Kentucky. We got our day started off right. A little bit of, you have to take advantage of when there's a Waffle House right across the street from the bowling center.
It was good.
Yes, it was.
Hit the spot.
Want to thank the ladies there. Had me a couple of cups of coffee to get me ready for this afternoon. Jordan Marshall comes in light. Looks like a lot of friction, Chad, to the left and to the right. Jordan just not quite enough rev rate to get that ball to come back with enough power to trip out the 7-pin.
Yeah, and the surface they're bowling on too is that HPL surface is higher friction than the Brunswick surface. So
I remember Star Lanes, where the Ebonite Lafayette Open lived for a long, long time, 22, 23 years, and
always had plenty of friction.
yes,
But the topography was weird in that house, throughout the house, and so that's what made that house tough. Nice shot. Oh.
comes in line, another 2-8 for Noah, right?
Yep. Gave him 9 though.
Tyler Cahill now with a 4-bagger. It looks like 2, Chad. There's friction to the right, but it looks like there's a little bit of hold as we're looking down at Ismail Matuk with a front 8 here for the boys. And man, we got some hot starts, Chad. We got Jordan Bowerly with 7 out of 8 strikes. Ismail at front 8. You know, I try not to do the announcer jinx, but if you just don't believe in it, you just keep talking about it. Right? You just Morgan Morales now with a 6-bagger here on 25 and 26. So a lot going on here as we approach the 10th frame of game number 1 of 3.
Yes, if he makes it to the 10th frame down there, we'll get a camera down there so everybody can see the 10th frame.
As Micah David there with an unfortunate 7-10 split in the 9th frame. Now, Mr. Bowerly here. I believe he bowled for Ron Colley. Boy, he got a handful there, Chad. And
wow.
oh, I don't think he liked it off the hand.
Well, you usually don't hear that pop from him.
That means he was held on to it maybe just a little too much, but there was tons of hand in it.
It's crazy because you used to hear that pop from people's thumb holes, and then these two-handers are getting it from their fingers.
Yeah.
Just the power is crazy.
That tells you he got up underneath it a lot. Yeah, you always would watch the PBA back in the day, and you would hear the thumb pop all the time. They would try to keep their hand under the ball as long as possible.
Oh.
Ooh.
He had a pretty good game going after the first 3 frames.
Yeah, he had a little bit. That is Ashton Evans. A little bit of a hiccup there to start the game, and then he was able to string 5 in a row, and now he's looking at a split here in the 10th, and that's the 3, 4, 6, 10. Oh, and he makes it.
Nice.
That's the same spare Jordan Bowerly made in the 4th. So good spare there for Ashton.
He's got the front 9 down there, so I'll head down there at the beginning of the 10th frame.
All right. A lot of fun action going on here at the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars. Drama already when you think about it. And they got a good group down there too, Chad.
They do. On that pair.
You got Mike and Hobegger and Israel Luna and Reed Wendholt. So a lot of talented players on that pair as well. We'll look forward to your coverage of the 10th frame for Mr. Matuk on 29 and 30. Now Jordan Bowerly in the 10th. Pin stood no chance there. I would really classify Jordan as a stroker.
Yeah.
Just a nice, smooth, consistent game.
Rev rate is high enough, you know.
Good shot there from Noah Wright. Trying to rebound from a little bit of a shaky start here. 2 more games can get him solidified into that mix for the step ladder. But it's not about just posting 3 games. It's all about seeding.
Yeah.
Then we have head-to-head matches.
2 game total pins.
Yeah.
So we get to the Final 4, then it's a step ladder. And then I believe, if I'm right, the games you bowled prior to the step ladder determine your seeding. So those games matter too as far as how big the score is.
Yeah, 16 boys, 16 girls from each state represented here. So those 2 game total pin matches, they'll go pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right, drama getting closer. They're down 1 more bowler before we get to our 300 watch here in game number 1. Tyler Cahill now with a 5-bagger here after that single pin miss in the 5th. He had a heck of a game going. He still has 257 out there with a strike in the 11th and 12th frames. Got really around that one a lot, and he still trips out the 10. This team's off to a really good start, Chad. Tyler could strike out for 257. Jordan Bowerly, or Jordan Marshall already in with 231. Jordan Bowerly working on a 250 pace as well. Now, important here, shot coming up for Micah David. Struggling a little bit here as Isaiah Willis goes light and leaving a 210 split. There's all kinds of hold in the middle of this pattern. Because Tyler was asking for that to slow down, and it held pocket easily. All right, here we go. Chad's going to make his way down to lanes 29 and 30. Okay, you're watching Ismail Matuk with the front 9. Here's the 10th frame. Oh, and a flat 10 pin. Boy do we. Oh, great run there for Ismail, but gosh, boy, are we a jinx or what? We'll try to get this fixed. I let Chad take care of. I'll let you do it. You would think I would know. Boy, we.
That was my fault.
Are we a jinx or what?
Yeah. That's what parents said down there. It's like, it's your fault. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Well, we're trying to let everybody see it.
We don't want to miss it.
No. And
he goes Brooklyn in the field ball for a 279. Great start there. And Micah David now with a spare strike in the 10th, 179, but this group right here, Chad, could go 140 over if Jordan Bowerly. Oh, and he got that one in, Chad, and he leaves the 2.8. So there's a spot if you don't get it to the friction. And you throw it past the break point, you can see some trouble there. Still, a great team game for these 4 young men here on 21 and 22. Now Jordan Bowerly here with the 2.8 spare conversion. Gets it. I'm sure he's quite disappointed with that shot.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good score, though.
He strikes in the fill here, 254. They're going to shoot 920. And now Morgan Morales here whiffs the head pin right after she had 7 in a row. Still a great start for her. And, of course, that one always strikes.
Yeah.
254, 921 total for this 4-person team. And
girls down on 17-18, already into their second game. Looks like they're good scores there. A couple 200s, 3 200s on that pair last game, 4 200s.
Yeah, 749 for the Kentucky boys on the same pair, 21 and 22. And now Morgan Morales here to our right. She just converted what we call the rail for a spare. She could shoot 239 with a strike in the fill here in the 10th. Pretty tight team game going on here between these two teams on the girls' side of 25-26. 681 for the girls. Morgan can get to, there's a 9s fill. 238, they 702, so only 20 pins separating those two teams. Remember, we add all the scores up from the girls and all the scores up from the boys, and we'll get our overall champion, Will it be Kentucky or Indiana? Right now, the Indiana boys with a big lead here on the Kentucky boys on this pair, 21 and 22, 172 pin lead right here.
As soon as everybody gets done, we'll get some scores so we can go over overall totals.
And Jordan Marshall started off where he left in game one with a strike in the first. Now, good score for game one here for the girls on the Indiana side. Got some 200 scores on the girls side, it looks like. 210, 202. Looks like Madison Souls shot 202 and Addison Boyle shot 210.
Couple girls from Kentucky shoot 200 that first game.
Yeah, it looked like Bailey Woosley shot 2-0. Well, no, she shot 198. Almost 200 there. Looks like Abigail Hamilton shot 206 her first game. Now Madison Souls here on the right lane. Zoe Bostic with a double to start her game. There's another strike. One thing I do, the girls, they just keep moving. It looks like, you know, always felt like the guys were a little more, I don't want to say, they're not slow, but they're a little more methodical.
Yeah, yeah.
A little more.
They think about things a lot more. The girls just seem to go, they don't think about it when they get up there. They just go.
And I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I feel like the more you stand on the approach, the more thoughts, maybe ones you don't want to, can creep into your brain. The girls, they get up, they stand on the approach, get ready to go, and they go. And what a start now here for the Indiana boys on 21 and 2 as Jordan Bowerly now strikes, and all four players start the game off with an X. Another great shot there from Lauren Worthman.
Nice shot. Oh.
And a soft 10 pin there for Abigail Hamilton.
Probably starting to see a little bit of transition by this point.
That's one thing you will see on this HPL lane surface. A lot of friction early. You'll still see friction, but you know, if you're not careful, you'll start seeing maybe some 2.810s, 3.79s if you're not careful. Now Jordan Marshall playing much farther out, and he's all by himself, so he's probably not going to see a ton of transition, as you will with 7 righties and only 1 lefty.
Yeah.
And there's times when that can be good or bad. You and I are both left-handed.
Well, yeah, we deal with it in our league sometimes where, like, it just doesn't transition like the right side does, and we're trapped sometimes because it becomes so clipped. On the right side, you get past the transition, sometimes it gets better. But then on the other side, sometimes it just gets really bad, really quick.
One thing it'll be interesting to see is where these kids go on after their high school careers are done. Jordan Bowerly done with high school this year. Jordan Marshall, I believe, is done.
Yep, heading to Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue's going to get a good one there.
He's going to bowl.
And Purdue, known for having some really good left-handers. And they got a few there now in Gabe Castro and Lucas Francis.
Yeah.
So you add Jordan Marshall to that, and all of a sudden you can go out and start 3 good left-handers. Now you'll start seeing transition on that left side for them.
But downside of that, you hope the left side doesn't play.
Well, and that was the thing, too, is when you had Ryan Burton there a couple years ago, and you had Lucas Francis there, when the left side was in play, Purdue was in contention.
Yeah.
When the left side was tricky, Purdue struggled. But now they got a pretty good young nucleus of players there.
They have some right-handers that are really good. And we see them every Wednesday when we bowl league because they bowl in the same league as us. So it's kind of cool to watch them get better and get to know them.
Yeah, Tyler Cahill there with a strike. And right now, these Indiana boys on 21 and 22 can't miss, as Abigail Hamilton opened again, single pin miss in the second, and Zoe Bostic still with the front three. And these Indiana girls, Chad, on 17 and 18 off to a great start. And now we're going to get our look at Addison Boyles here, as Micah David now on 21 and 2 strikes, and they haven't missed yet, Chad, on 21 and 2 for the boys from Indiana. Another great shot there for Alyssa Bechtal, and she's got the front three, as Addison Boyles comes in high, fortunate to leave only the 3-pin, but a conversion here, and she's off to a great start as well. Always, bittersweet for some of these players in this event when they have graduated, and their school's been done for now several weeks. Graduation has already taken place, and a lot of these kids already have their degree, and this is kind of the swan song for a lot of these players.
Oh.
Jordan Bowerly just left a stone 9.
You saw it on the way right side of the screen, but we have front row seat to that one. Wow, that was a great shot.
They had a 7-bagger as a team working there, and we used to always make fun of guys that would do that when we'd have a big string for the team going, and yeah, you got to throw it better.
Yeah.
But Jordan just absolutely obliterated the pocket, as Lauren Worthman there with a strike tripped 4, 3-bagger for her, and they got bookend front threes in Zoe Bostic and Lauren Worthman. Alyssa Bechtal with her. So we got 3 players, 2 from Indiana, 1 from Kentucky on 17 and 18 with the front 3. So as Kentucky and Indiana going toe-to-toe here to see who will win the title for all around here for the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars.
Yeah, can Kentucky get a win for the first time in, 8 years?
Yeah, quite a few years. It's been a while since Kentucky. But when you go down and look at those list of players from Indiana that has participated, that has gone on to do big things in the world of bowling. Lots of titles. You might have one of the greatest who could go down as one of the greatest, maybe will find himself in that top 15 list of all-time players in E.J. Tackett.
Yeah, that's right. If he keeps what he's doing.
I'm going to say right now he has made his way easily into that top 15 and maybe top 10 of all time.
Yes, for sure.
Obviously, Walter Ray is still the king with number of titles. But you have a few other Indiana guys, one that we'll be working with that still has claimed himself in that top 6 or 7 category. So
don't you have a whole new generation of players now that could we talked about in that top 15 at all time,
Yeah, Zoe Bostic now with the front 4 for Indiana on 17 and 18. As Alyssa Bechtal makes her single pin spare. She's got spare now in the 4th. She had the front 3. As Addison Boyles converts the 7-pin. Now Abigail Hamilton looking to kind of get things back on track here in the 4th. Nice Beautiful shot there. And that's going to be the thing. What players in this group of kids will make their claim as one of the better players of all time in the state of Kentucky or Indiana?
Right.
These kids have a lot of history to write, A lot of bowling in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, this is really where it all starts, is this tournament.
And now Zoe Bostic here on the left lane. Two-handed lefty. I love it. Ooh,
Oh.
comes in
A
high.
little high.
And that is the 2-4-7. Beautiful shot there from
All right,
Jordan Marshall.
After the first game, Kentucky girls 29-58.
You can probably hear this.
Indiana girls 30-58.
Ooh, 100 pins
100
separating
pin for the
girls.
It's always close.
Kentucky boys 29-86. Indiana boys 33-85.
And Indiana boys way out in
Yeah.
front. 400 pins almost already after one game,
Yeah.
Chad. Girls are separated by 100
100
pins. And matter of fact, the impressive thing, Chad, that you just heard there, the Indiana girls are actually second overall in groups.
Yeah,
they're,
that's
they're,
right.
they're leading the Kentucky
Yeah.
boys. We knew the Kentucky boys had a lot of work to do in order to win this
Yeah,
on the boys' side.
yeah, and it seems to be always that way. The girls are always, the scores are pretty close, and then the boys is usually what decides who wins the
Well,
state.
yeah, Jordan Bowerly with a solid 10 in the third frame, and now Tyler Cahill front four. Micah David looking to get the front four here to start themselves out here in game number 2. And now Madison Souls here with a 1-3-10 spare conversion. Tough spare conversion here for her. So, oh, what a great cover there for Madison. But these Kentucky girls right there in the thick of it. Great shot there from Alyssa Bechtal, and she is bowling phenomenally well. Now the anchor bowler on this team, Abigail Hamilton, looking to get a double after missing 2 single pin spares to start her game. As Lauren Worthman starts out front 4. Excuse me, front 5. Now Abigail Hamilton. Oh, great shot, knocks the 10 out. So now the girls going toe-to-toe here on 17 and 18, but a great start for the Indiana girls on this pair. Looking here to my right here on 25 and 6, the Kentucky girls off to a great start. Remember, only 100 pins separating 4 girls teams from each side, as Jordan Bowerly now with another 10-pin conversion here in front of us on 21 and 2, as Lauren Worthman now with a 4-pin conversion. That was Addison Boyles that struck in the 5th frame. Morgan Morales here on 25 and 6 with the front 3. And now Olivia Hicks just off to your right side here on 25. You can see the rack as we're going to have a attendant come down on 22 to get Deadwood out of the channel here from Jordan Bowerly's 10-pin conversion. Comes in light. Oh, little flat 10 there. These teams right here in front of us after game number 1 were only separated by less than 20 pins. Unbelievably tight, 29-58, 30-58. The Indiana-Kentucky girls difference, Indiana ahead as Olivia Hicks misses the 10-pin here in the 4th. Noah Wright off to a great start. He struggled game number 1 for Kentucky, and now he's got the front 4. Tyler Cahill front 4. Micah David looking to turn things around after his 179 opening game 1, and he is well on his way with a 4-bagger. Now, top of the 5th frame working here for Jordan Marshall. Double, open, strike, looking to double. And he does.
One of the advantages of bowling on the same pair every game is to make it better and see if it gets better. But there could also be a disadvantage to someone if they can't get it. You know?
Right. Or if the pair goes sideways.
Yeah.
The first
and
thing
other
you're
pairs don't.
Yeah, the first thing you're wanting to do is get off of it and get to another pair.
Yeah.
But this looks like the pair has broken down quite nicely.
Thing is to see what will it do the 3rd game, because sometimes it'll go through that really nice phase like it is now and then just get ugly.
Fans watching the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars that want to know why they're watching the same bowlers after every game. They don't move after each game. They bowl all 3 games on the same pair. Pairs we have in play today are 17, 18, and 21 and 22. When the singles matches come around, we'll have 21, 22, 23, 24. That will be your singles finals pairs. As Tyler Cahill front 5 now as Ashton Evans leaves the 9 on the 3-6-9-10 conversion. Now Micah David, can he get the front? Oop.
Oh.
Looks like he got that one right a little early, and the ball really faced up quick. And he leaves the 3-6-10.
Let's see what Noah can do here.
Oh,
yeah.
Great shot from Noah Wright. Front 5 for the youngster. That's the beautiful thing about the game of bowling. You don't have to be 6'3", big and strong, uber athletic to play the sport. It accepts all sizes, all abilities. Ooh, as Isaiah Willis with a 2-8-10. That's the nice thing about the sport of bowling.
Anyone can play it, and you can play it into your 80s if you are capable.
That's Jordan
I
Bowerly.
can say if you're capable, but I've seen people with their walkers walking up to the lane, one hand or one step.
Jordan Bowerly there with a strike in the 5th after back-to-back-to-back single-pin spares. And you're right. You look at the game of baseball or football or basketball, you got to be blessed with size and athletic ability.
Right.
Bowling, you don't have to be. As Ryan Burning, good friends of ours, former Purdue basketball player, he's 6'9", and he's bowling.
A darn good bowler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get out your white ticket.
They can still play basketball too.
Sure can.
He's hyped about the alumni game.
He just doesn't have the hops he used to have.
It is 762-588.
I saw he just posted a picture on social media. He went out to breakfast with
Gene Cady.
Coach Gene Cady, former coach of Purdue basketball.
It was his head coach.
Yeah, the legend.
Yeah.
And
Last
is
year,
87, I believe. I think he is 87 or 88, something like that.
you know, last year at the I think it was last year at the alumni game, or maybe it was 2 years ago. He was draining 3-pointers. He hit like back-to-back 3-pointers, and the crowd was going crazy. And I think he was even surprised too.
Oh, and Jordan Marshall comes in just a pinch high, leaving the 6-pin.
I just love the story with him and Coach Painter when they were talking bowling, and Ryan texted him, so I bowled whatever it was in high 200s or whatever. And
Gary,
Painter was talking about it in his press
Indiana
conference.
was your winner. Congratulations.
Ashton Evans almost left a high flush pocket 7-9. He was fortunate the 9-pin fell late, left just the 7-pin. And he converted the spare. Now Noah Wright here, front 5. Him and Tyler Cahill going toe-to-toe here in game number 2.
looks good.
It looks good. Oh, and it
Nice
is.
shot.
10-pin just hammered by the 6. Front 6 for Mr. Wright, who can do no wrong.
No.
Now can Tyler Cahill match him in the 6th? And that's inside.
But there's hold.
Oh, and there's lots of hold,
Yeah.
Chad. I'm
He knew
guaranteeing
it. He
you.
turned
Yeah,
around smiling. He knew he tugged it.
that looked like it was at least 2 or 3 left of where he wanted to lay it down.
It's a good feeling when you have that. Everything gets nice and relaxed.
Well, I'm looking down here on the girls' side. It looks like Zoe Bostic's bowling well. She went front 4, spare, double, now an 8 count. Looks like she left the 2-6 or 2-4, excuse me, as Micah David back on the strike train with one in the 6th frame after opening in the 5th. I would have to imagine there's going to be some coaches watching Zoe Bostic as she continues to bowl her high school career. Oh, and Jordan Bowerly now, that one spot right there, 2-8-10. He's trying to back up at it, and he just takes the 2 off, leaving the 8-10. Still plenty of game out there, 104 in the 6th. Still could get to 220. I'm thinking, he's probably thinking, if I can get to 2-0 or 2-teen, I'll be very happy with that. As Jordan Marshall leaves a solid 7. I was just mentioning, as I know you were trying to get scoring back up on our pair, that watching Zoe Bostic bowl two-handed lefty, I would imagine there's going to be a lot of coaches keeping an eye on her as she continues her high school career.
Yeah, she really does throw it really well.
You know, you just don't see players, especially on the girls' side, throwing two-handed.
She's only 15.
Yeah, she's only been bowling 3 years.
Yeah.
Her better days are way out in front of her.
Yeah, no kidding, because
But there's a lot to work with right there.
there is. She throws it really well, and you just got to figure she's going to get stronger, and she's going to get better. Just through experience too. I mean, the more you bowl on harder conditions, I think the better you get.
And especially, and this is as Tyler Cahill, he gets his 7th one now. Can Noah Wright match him?
I mean, at this point, it's like go out there and bowl as many tournaments as you can to get that experience.
That looks good. Comes in light. Oh, and the mixer gets it. Well, and that's the thing is, and this is no slight against girls. Obviously, boys have just more strength, right? But if you can be a girl and you can have a little bit more rev rate than the others, huge advantage.
Huge advantage, yeah.
Now Zoe coming up here. Looks like in the 9th frame.
Switch over there real quick.
Here you go.
Left lane.
Spare in the 8th. Comes in. Oh, and she just tomahawks the 7 out. What a shot. And I'm telling you, this young lady has got some power. And I would imagine coaches that have a really good girls program, and I'm not talking even just around here. I'm talking NCAA.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure she's going to be getting some recruiting letters at some point,
Jordan
if
Gray,
not already.
Jordan Gray and Jerica's here from Marion. You know they're watching her.
Yeah, the NAIA boys defending national champions. As Madison Souls comes in a little high, leaving the 4-7. Lauren Worthman bowling well this game. So is Abigail Hamilton after the open start. She's got 5 in a row. Alyssa Bechdahl had a great start, 5 of her first 6 strikes, now back-to-back open frames, but plenty of game left. As right here in front of us, you can see the frustration on Hayden Fowler's face when he leaves the solid 10 after working on a double in the 5th and 6th frames. And Jordan Bowerly comes right back like the pro he is with the strike after the open frame.
Yeah, and looking at Hayden's scores, he had 2 other 9 spares. Were they 10 pins as well? That could cause that frustration as well.
Absolutely, when you just can't seem to string anything and you're throwing it well.
Yeah, and you're just thinking to yourself, man, I should have the front 7 right now.
Well, I don't know if we say should, but could.
Could, but
right.
You kind of feel that. That's
as a bowler, you feel like,
that's
yeah,
the way you feel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now Noah right here, 8th frame, front 7.
Obviously, a lot of factors into why you leave that solid 7.
You'll see it out of the corner of your screen there. Oh my! That one come in a little light. Boy, the pins were dancing.
We'll let these girls finish out, and then we'll go to the end of this boys game.
Jordan Marshall right here in front of us. As you see on the right side of your screen here, you can see 21 and 2 as Marshall strikes in the 8th frame. He still has another 230 game out there. I'm kind of, just Noah Wright just walked out of the concourse area.
Yeah.
Boy, I just don't know if I ever do that. I'm superstitious a little bit. I'm not changing anything I've been doing.
No, and I do not like walking on carpet before bowling because just the moisture in the carpet, and you go up there and on synthetic approaches.
As Lauren
I just don't want to stick.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but I will say, it's cool in here.
It is.
We were smart. We wore the long sleeves.
Yep.
It's definitely, they've kept it nice and cool in the bowling center.
Yeah, that was a good choice.
Now, Tyler Cahill, can he match Noah Wright? That's way right.
Oh,
and it's way good.
And he knew it. Look at him.
Oh, my goodness. Chad, how many arrows does Tyler Cahill have? He's got, we always say he's got 3 boards, and each one has an arrow.
Yeah.
That's what we always used to say. And there's nothing, hey, that's when you know you got it, right?
Yeah. I remember shooting 300 one time, and you teased me after I did it, and you're like, yeah, you hit 3 different marks in the 10th frame. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't even close. They all hit the pocket.
Well, based on his shot on that lane previously, and which would have been the 6th, that had to be at least
way wide.
7 or 8 right of where he was hitting before. So he's got
10 boards.
He's got the holding going. And now he's got all the free hook he wants. I was trying to look at Chad. I wasn't sure if he was throwing urethane or not.
It kind of looked like it. Like a purple.
Yeah. But now we got 2 players here right in front of us with the front 8. The nice thing is you don't even have to take a camera.
No,
but
switch it.
We could get some recording for our...
I will. I'll use my phone to get some video.
As back now here on 17 and 18, and Abigail Hamilton, after a 5-bagger, opened in the 9th on the split. And Zoe Bostic here, Chad, with a chance to shoot 255 as Jordan Bowerly strikes in the 9th, or the 8th. He's got a double back. Now, there is Jordan Marshall now on 21. Can't get my Jordans confused here. Now Zoe Bostic here. Already a strike in the first ball in the 10th, now the 11th. Oh, pin stood no chance. This young lady can play. Right then and there, a strike for Samantha Pierce. She can shoot 193. Now back to Bostic. 255 there. Oh,
Nice shot.
beautiful shot. My goodness.
Wow, impressive.
And Samantha Pierce coming in light. Open frame for Ashton Evans here in front of us. He's bold. He's had some tough breaks. That ball, he looked like he just missed in a hair, and the ball hooks early.
He got that one in. Oh, he finally, it kind of faded away from the,
Good
the
run.
pocket a little bit. This is Tyler Cahill. He got a little bit too far in that time, I think.
And now Noah Wright here. Can he get the ninth?
That 6-pin just kind of laid in the gutter.
This is close.
Yeah, it looks good.
Oh, beautiful shot.
Wow.
Oh, and Tyler
Oh, God.
misses the 10 in the 10th frame, or in the 9th frame, has 237 now in the 9th. Remember, this young man shot 257 his first game.
Yeah.
So Tyler well on his way to getting that high seed in our singles portions of this event. Scott Gilmore, Chad Lester here in the broadcast booth. Savage Bowling TV's presentation of the Indiana Kentucky All-Stars from Dixie Bowl here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Now, I believe the way you do the seeding was it'll be, in that first round, it'll be an Indiana bowler against a Kentucky bowler. So the number 1 seed will bowl the the lowest seed for Kentucky.
.255 finish for Zoe Bostic here on 17 and 18. Great comeback, Chad, after that 180 start for her.
For sure, yes.
And we'll be coming back here on 21 and 22 to watch Noah Wright's 10th frame. He has a 300 game to his resume with a high series of 794. He, 17-year-old. Looks like from Mount Washington, Kentucky. I only know that because I looked at the back of his shirt.
Cheater.
Oh! Jordan Bauer, or Marshall with another flat 7-pin. All right, we're going to bring you the finishing game here in the team portion of the Indiana Kentucky All-Stars, and then we'll come back and this afternoon with singles portions. Mike Albee will join us in the broadcast booth. And we're one shot away from getting to Noah Wright here. And all eyes will be on the youngster, 17-year-old from Mount Washington, Kentucky here. Front 9 looking for a 300 game at the Indiana Kentucky All-Stars. First one. Oh, solid 9.
Jeez.
Great run there from Noah.
Yeah.
What a shot.
And he buried pretty much all 9 of those shots he threw. With the exception of one, I think he came in and had a light swifter, but that was a pretty solid game. It's kind of nice to see as this string went longer, the crowd started migrating down towards this pair to watch. And there's a lot of people around us right now.
And Tyler with now another strike in the 10th. And he's looking at 267.
Yeah, you hate to miss that 10 pin in the 9th, but still going to finish with a good score. 276 for Noah.
Nice game. Real nice game. Solid shot, first ball in the 10th. But you look at the Indiana boys chat here after 2 players, Jordan Marshall with 212, and with a strike here, they could have a 66-pin lead after 2 players. Oh, great shot. Of course, and now Tyler Cahill thinking what could have been there with that shot in the 9th.
Once we announce the scores after the second game, I'll try to go get a sheet to see where we're at. Individual.
Well, and I'm looking over here on 25 and 26 on the girls' side for Kentucky. Tristan
267.
Raymer with a 267 game. Now all of a sudden, the Kentucky girls have taken the lead on this particular pair. They're only down 100 pins. There's another great shot there from Mallory Luna. She's got 3 in a row.
Right, it's going to be a good team score here for Indiana.
Now Jordan Bowerly looking to finish on a high note here, Chad. Any kind of mark, and he's got the 2-team game we were talking about trying to recover from. Now he's looking for more. Comes in high, 6-pin.
Fortunate to knock out the 10
excuse me, 4-pin.
Moving right along, 10:30 Eastern time right now.
Going to be in game 3 here.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jordan Bowerly just missed the 4-pin. He's going to finish with 191. Oh.
You know what they say, though, once you get the match play, anybody can beat anybody. So just because you're a low seed doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily be harder to make your way through the field. You just got to win. You just got to beat your opponent by 1 pin.
Well, we were talking about how close the girls from Indiana and Kentucky are, and there was only 100 pins separating the girls' scores, and just right here on 25 and 6. And we got a great team game going here for Kentucky as Danica Lyons now with a double in the 10th. She's got 3 in a row. She can shoot 214. They're looking at an 880 score.
Yeah, 880, 890.
I mean, they're going to win their team game by 100 pins.
Yeah, so them alone would take.
All right, good fill there for Danica. 213, great score. as Morgan Morales can shoot 2-0. Remember, she had a great game, 230 game, her first.
I think the girls being so close, it's a pretty good indication of what kind of matches we're going to see this afternoon. We're going to see a lot of close matches. Somebody getting some coaching here, or?
Well,
Are they waiting on a
882 here for the boys from Indiana right here in front of us for their team game. They shot 921 game one. And a great field ball there for Isaiah. 190 score. Now Hayden Fowler here with a double. He could shoot 239 if he could fill the 10th frame.
Looks good. Oh.
Oh, ball checked up high
Yeah,
and 4-9. What? Boy, he just can't get any luck.
10 pins earlier and now a 4-9.
All right, game two. And in the girls' side on 25 and 6, the final score differential was 95 pins. Remember, Indiana girls were only up 100 after game number 1. We'll get announcements on where the score is for the overall. Once all the tallies are in from game number 2, girls are already in game number 3. Looks like we have a couple of pairs still finishing game number 2. Now we're looking at the girls as Addison Boyles with the front 2. Zoe Bostic spare open frame, and Lauren Worthman with the open frame to start. Abigail Hamilton with the strike. Tyler Cahill right in front of us starts out with another strike, as Jordan Marshall did as well. And this team bowling real well in game number, and actually in all 3 games. They are 200 over as a team after 2 games. Micah David with the strike here. Looks like we're waiting on as Abigail Hamilton now with a 4-7 conversion here. She's plus 18 after 2 games. Oh, and she misses the 4-7. Good. Mr. Jordan Gray. Going to stop in here in the booth. Yeah. Head coach from Marion College here in Indianapolis. The, well, should we say the NAIA national champion coach? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is correct.
Well, you know, that's a good thing. It's nothing wrong with saying that. Yeah, my son's playing travel baseball, so I got my iPad here just kind of seeing our team's not. We're off to a shaky start this season. We have a bunch of players that, or several players that have done well in high school and their seasons aren't done yet. So, but anyway, how are things going for you?
Good. Out here, I love coming to this event. Like I remember coming back to this event forever ago, watching Clint Millian win, I remember watching Chris Condiff bowl with his thumb all blown open. Like, I've been coming to Indiana Kentucky All-Stars for, goodness, 20 years. And I remember I only got to bowl it once, and it was an experience I'll never forget. But yeah, getting out here, getting to see the great bowlers from Indiana and Kentucky, and I love being here and just talking about bowling.
Well, and we were looking through the history of this event, and quite a lot of good names that have participated in the Indiana Kentucky All-Star, especially from the Indiana side. When you just think of the talent that has come through here, we were talking about, you know, E.J. Tackett's on this list, and you know, where is he at in the pecking order of all-time great players already at his young age? He might be on his way into the top 10 here pretty quick, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, unbelievable what he's been doing. And he's been doing it forever. Like, everybody understands that he was likely a good youth bowler, but like, I got to get beat by him my entire youth career. So, that guy can do everything. He's always been good. He works his butt off. It's so fun to watch.
Well, and we were talking too, I remember, I think it was the 09 U.S. Open, I was bowling in it, and I kept hearing everybody talk about this young teenager phenom out of from the northern parts of, well, he's from Huntington, and they said, have you seen this E.J. Tackett kid throw it? And I'm like, no, I don't know who you're talking about. And that was one of his first, I think, tournaments as far as a major event. And boy, and you would have never thought that he was going to be a 20-plus title winner with multiple majors and just absolutely dominate the tour the last 3 years. But that's where he's at. But we're talking about some players here today, and I know you're here probably doing a little bit of recruiting as well and just kind of doing some scouting. Been watching Zoe Bostic here on the girls' side, and man, an impressive young lady she is, and only 3 years into the sport.
She's so talented. Jerica and I got to connect with her at John Bowerly's Bowl Indy events, and we had a brief chat with her. And yeah, only 3 years, and you just see, like, oh, she's gonna be so good. It's already so talented. And yeah, the sky is the limit for her. Yeah.
Well, we were talking, Chad and I were talking about her as well, as, you know, and we were like, it's no slight against the women's game, but when you have a young lady that can throw it two-handed, that has a little more rev rate, boy, she really stands out. She really makes the pins dance. She's playing much farther in than all the other girls are, even though she is left-handed. But, man, what a talent she is. Very athletic. Looks great doing it, too, as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, the two-handed side on the two-handed game on the women's side, we're starting to see more and more. You see Nora on the women's tour from Sweden. She's really good. And then you think of, like, Bella Castillo, and it's starting to become more and more popular, and it's really, really, really fun when you get to see somebody like Zoe who does it really well, and you see their athleticism coming through, and yeah, I'm excited to see where bowling goes. On the men's side, you've already seen the two-handed takeover. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and it's almost come to the point where you're surprised to see a one-hander. It's like, wow, that kid still puts his thumb in the ball.
Yeah, it's rare. I mean, our nationals team last year we had 5 two-handers, 3 one-handers. It changed so rapidly. Like you blink and my team's all two-handed.
Yeah. Well, we've been watching, really paying a close attention to the girls' side of this event. Only 100 pins separated the girls' totals, and the Kentucky team here on 25-26 won last game by 98 pins or 95 pins. And I've been watching, obviously, 17 and 18. And boy, the girls are really right there, toe-to-toe. The boys, on the other hand, it was going to be a stiff challenge for the Kentucky boys to compete with some of these kids that are playing for the Indiana side.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always fun watching this event because I think for the longest time, like the Indiana girls almost always won, and it was a dogfight on the men's side. And then, like, this year, it's just like, it's a little bit different. It's so close on the women's side, and the men's side, yeah, like I said, tough challenge. Both men's teams are very, very talented, but yeah, the guys from it, like when you think of Riley and Jordan and Mike, and just really, really, really good players.
Yeah, and of course, when you look at Jordan Bowerly, the Jordan you were referring to, lots of experience in this event. I think this is his 4th time bowling in this event. You also have a lot of first-timers here this weekend. So it's really cool to see some of the young up-and-coming guns of the sport, right, coming into play here. And, of course, we see a lot of these kids in the state high school championships and so forth, and it's really cool. And obviously the sport in good hands with some of these young players, and especially when you look at these young players who have, as Zoe's throwing here on the right lane, comes in a little crossover there on that shot. And that's one thing for her. She's got to project the ball down the lane properly, or it's going to overhook almost every time. But anyway, when you see players even like Zoe, who's only been bowling for 3 years, her best years are way out in front of her. As a coach, I mean, you have to be thinking, man, there's someone that's going to be, you could build a cornerstone with on your program.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we think, like, we had, Jarek and I have a spreadsheet where we try to track kids. Like these kids, I was just talking to a parent on the concourse, and his son's here. He's 13. It was Ishmael. And it's like, oh, he's 13, but I'm going to blink and he's going to be a senior.
Yeah.
And we have to stay on top of it. It is so difficult to do because you watch these events and you're like, they're 13? They're like, we did that with Alexa Escamilla for so long, and then now she's finally a senior.
Yeah, yeah. And she's been around, well, her freshman year, she was competing at a high level in the state. So, my question to you is, as a coach for a successful program, how has the transition been for you understanding the two-handed game and how to coach it? Has that been a challenge? And what have you done to kind of migrate through that? As when you're a one-hander, your moves might be 1 or 2 here, but when you're two-handed, it's much larger.
Absolutely. It is a challenge, especially when you end up with kind of a mixed team like we have nowadays, where we were 3 one-handed, 5 two-handed. The two-handed moves often are a little bit bigger, but there are times that they're even a little bit smaller because some of the two-handed players, like I think first name that comes to mind is Nolan Blessing. Like this past year at ITCs, David Hayes would make a 2-1, but for Nolan it was only a 1 because Nolan was just so much more forward with his hands, so his ball didn't want to react so much. But there are some times where Nolan's got to move 3 when David moves 1.
Right.
And it's like just understanding that relationship between roll and rev rate. It was a bit of a learning curve. I've been really, really fortunate that I've had some really good two-handers that come through, and I think the best coaches teach players but also learn from players. So I've been learning as well. I mean, we got to see Jordan Shepard go from the straightest one-handed player since, 2000 to a two-handed player that could hook them, and learning from him and learning with him. It was a good time, but it's like, there's so many moving parts. I think the two-handed game, what we try to teach so much is to really make sure that ball roll is forward.
Yeah.
We don't want to make you, you don't want to be 3 arrows left all the time, which you see. But they're so talented.
Well, and that's the thing you think of, too, and you hear that word a lot more, forward. You hear it a lot more on tour, trying to get the ball not so much angular, but still being able to be two-handed with the power, right? but play straighter with where some of your one-handers are trying to play as well. But, you talk about players teaching players, and you can just kind of see Jordan Bowerly here kind of, when he's talking, you have Mr. David and Mr. Cahill intently listening, right?
Yeah.
Because when you have that experience of knowing what the lane is doing quickly, you got to be a sponge and just absorb any information you can get. Because so many of the great players, and you think of Jason Belmonte as maybe the greatest two-hander of all time, they don't want to give all their secrets away, right? That is their tricks. They don't want to share that. But when a player is willing to do that, you have to be willing to just soak it all in and not forget, right?
Yeah, and you see that a lot with the youth players, that they are so willing to share information and communicate, and even not like this is a team event, so of course, communication is pivotal. But you go to like a Bowl Indy event, and those kids are all talking about lane play, and this is what I'm doing. It's like, well, you should be trying to beat them, but at the same time, they're all friends. Like they all want to see each other succeed. So the camaraderie in youth events, it's so fun to see. But yeah, you see it like right in front of us. Like Jordan's just. He's talking, they're listening.
Yeah.
And on the Kentucky side, you're seeing the same thing with Hayden Fowler. Hayden Fowler's back here trying to talk to his team, and they're listening and communicating accordingly. And I love seeing that, especially as a coach and two future Marion kids that are willing to communicate. I'm like, yes, that's what we need.
Right. Well, and especially early on when play was just getting ready to get started. I think they were in the third or fourth frame, and Jordan was just talking, and you could see Micah David and Tyler Cahill just looking intently, like they didn't want to miss anything, and that's the important part too. You can always learn from your peers, and it's kind of cool too. I think I agree with you that players are willing to share that information. That's how you make everything better, right? And also, as you said too, being a team event, if they're playing the lanes right, they're going to help you out. You got to work together and break the pair down right as you're trying to bowl all three games on the same pair. So
yeah, I was down here listening a bit because so Carlos Schrader's down here in front. He was communicating with the Kentucky kids, and the Kentucky kids are like, "Oh, the Indiana kids, they have them everywhere." And Carlos like, "Well, what are they doing that you can't do?" And next thing you know, they've all kind of moved and they struck a bit more last game, and it's like, yeah, just look around.
Yeah.
Like my favorite thing to do in events is to get my ear into other teams' huddles. What are they talking about? What are they seeing? What are they seeing that maybe I'm not seeing? Yeah, because it's not a test. There's no real cheating in that. Just if you can get information, get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just Corky given the scores, and the Kentucky girls have taken over the lead. The boys are up 281 pins. I'm thinking it's within maybe 150 pins overall now between Indiana and Kentucky, with Indiana in the lead. So, and just here in front of us, Noah Wright, shaky start, but came back with 276. Now he's back with the front five here in game number 3, and obviously things are really close. 12-476, 12-765. The state totals there. So 280 pins almost. The difference there, 279. Yeah. Indiana up on the boys.
Kentucky closed in well on the boys' side a little bit. I think they were down 400, and they've cut it down. And
yeah, Kentucky actually won that last game.
You are allowed to go out and have lunch wherever you would like, or please stay in the center and use the snack bar here. Help the center.
Of course, then we get down to 2-game total pin matches for the single portion. That ought to be very exciting as well. And obviously, guys that come to mind as far as, potentially being a favorite, you have to think of Riley Spear, obviously, as P1, right?
Yeah.
He has won everything that there is to win in this sport.
He also turned 535 today, so yeah, that's pretty good.
I was watching Jordan Marshall bowling here, and he has a great look, and I'm thinking to myself, can't imagine what Riley's looks like as well. So
Yeah, Jordan throws it good. I think he's a bit of a late bloomer, and I think he's joining that Purdue team this next year. I think he'll be a good addition. They're going to be a little bit senior-led this next year, and they had a really good freshman class last year. I think Purdue's positioned to be good for a while, and adding a player like Jordan, I think will continue to add that.
Yeah, that's the thing with a team that they're not out there throwing scholarships left and right. They're selling the school, the education. I'm not saying nothing about Marion, but where you guys have a little bit more of a luxury of maybe trying to recruit a player, it's all about the education first for Purdue because they're all student-run organization. But it's interesting to see how well they've been able to manage getting players, and they've had some good ones go through like Ryan Burton, but now you have another two-hander lefty and Gabe Castro, who's really been playing well.
Unreal.
And Lucas Francis, who's kind of a unicorn. Just so much power with one hand. It's crazy. But, yeah, they've got a good young group of kids coming in there. And obviously Jordan Marshall is going to fit in quite nicely with a few of the left-handers that they have already in that program.
Yeah, we had a couple dogfights with them at the Boilermaker this past year. 2 events that came down to the last game and the final frames. I think the Baker event, we threw like a 7-bagger at the end to run them down, and they were watching us. And it's all love with them. We love that. Such a good group, and they're going to be good for a while.
And that's what makes college bowling fun.
Yeah.
When you can have those. To me, the Bakers, and so much can change. I think that's what makes the ITC qualifiers so exciting because it is truly a team format. You could have a couple guys bowl really well, but you wouldn't know that if the other 3 aren't. And for you as a coach, you're the one that's figuring out where these guys need to be, and that's what's fun too as well.
I am of I want college bowling to be all Baker games all the time. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that because now we do frame stats for All-Americans. We look at frame averages and things like that. I want to be all Baker games all the time because that is team bowling.
Yeah.
Bowling a team game is whatever, but you have an individual score. You bowl a Baker game, you have no individual score at all. It's just you're bowling for one score. I think we're getting closer and closer.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more events go that format, especially those like even for Chad who runs the Boilermaker. You have maybe a 2 separate event weekend, and you have all team one day, and then you might have all Bakers the next day. So it kind of gives you when they went to that all Baker 64 game qualifier, if you didn't bowl a lot of Baker games, you didn't know how to handle it, right? And so you were looking for events that started putting more Baker into their format. When I was bowling back long time ago, we bowled maybe 6-8 Baker games in the event. It was mostly, we'd bowl 9 team games. So, and even match games back in the day at St. Louis, it was all team games, right? So it is nice to see because the Baker is the true epitome of team sport.
Yeah, the Hoosier used to be that way as well. We used to bowl 6 team games on Saturdays and come back in Sunday on a different pattern and bowl 3 more team games. And yeah, I love the switch to just more Bakers. I also think that creates a little bit of separation from a coaching standpoint as well, because the coach has much more, I don't want to say like maybe a bit more influence when it comes to changing lineups from game to game. Like team games, the lineup doesn't really matter. You just need to have your 5 guys in that are striking. It doesn't matter if your 2-hole shoots 300 and your 5 shoots 150. It's the same if you flip them. In Bakers, it really matters. So I love Bakers. I'm a big use my bench guy, shooting spares and stuff. I don't think there's another team in college bowling that subs more than I do in Baker games.
Well, there is a lot more strategy involved. Mm-hmm. You got to put the guys in the right part of the lineup in order to maximize your score every game. And obviously your anchor bowler, you have to trust, right, the most in a way. And sometimes it's not always about the most experience. It's who's got the better look. And in 64 games, 32 a day, you can really get a feel for and those who get comfortable quick. But it's really interesting, too, when you can have a team that could be 300 pins out in day one and end up getting, beating that particular team maybe by 180 by the end of the tournament. They've made up 400, 500 pins. It's so quickly you can make up 60 or 70 pins in a game.
It's weird thinking that from a sectional standpoint, 64 games, they can speed up on you. Like you blink and you bowled 8 and you're like, what happened? Like, and they can speed up in a good way and in a bad way. And there's the whole experience thing that you hit on there. Like, if all coaches are always like, oh, I just need my most experienced guy at anchor, you're never giving anybody else a chance. Like, we've thrown freshmen in there. So, hey, you've got the best look. I need you just to be yourself.
Right. Yep.
And I just love it. Oh, I want the college season to get here. It's so far away.
Front 6 for Noah Wright again here on 21 and 22. He has been on fire his last 2 games. We're going to get a look at him right now, stepping up on 21. Girls are almost finished on 17 and 18. We'll try to get a look over there as well.
Yeah, Noah was he was talking to Carly a bit about not being able to get his ball to do the right things, and Carly talked to him a bit about getting the ball a little bit further right. And then he ended up having a little bit of miss left, kind of that 4-pin spot right there. And next thing you know, the lanes feel super open, and you see his swing loosen up, and he gets it off his hand the same way. And before you know it, you go from feeling like you have nothing to have in the world. And it's so fun as a bowler.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We were laughing because Tyler Cahill in game number 2 had the front 7, and he had one where he missed at least like 10 right, and it still struck. And we were laughing because the old joke we would say is, as a player, he had 3 boards, and each one of them had an arrow on it. And that's where he was at. He had a little bit of hold, and he had all of a sudden he's like, wow, I got quite a bit of out. And obviously he just a couple of single pin blips here for him in the 2nd and 7th frames, but he has bowled solid. I think he has 520 after 2 frames, or after 2 games. So bowling quite well.
Yeah, I pulled that arrow joke out on a freshman of mine last year, Max Birch. He was from Rhode Island, and he had them just like wide open one day. I was like, Max, I feel like you only have 2 boards, man. He just looked at me wide-eyed. I was like, yeah, they both got arrows, man.
Yeah, when you got that. Jordan Bowerly just with power. He's had some frustrating shots. In game number 2, he had a stretch where he went stone 9 and then back-to-back solid 10s. And then he opened in the 10th frame, missing the 4-pin for a 190 game.
I think in the 10th frame, he was looking too far ahead. We talked a little bit about trying another ball, and I think his brain wasn't fully locked in on shooting the 4-pin.
And, I'll be honest with you. I think bowling balls know. So if I know I'm going to throw a fill ball, I don't even take it out of my bag. I don't even look at it, because I don't know how many times I'm going to throw this in the fill, and then I end up missing, or I split. And so I think the balls have some kind of a knowledge, and I don't know if there's bad mojo, but I just leave it in the bag, and then I go to it after I mark in the 10th frame.
It's probably the right way about it. I think, yeah, Jordan was. We had a good conversation, had a good game plan. I was like, all right, Jordan, well, I guess we'll start with that ball.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Push. There's some strikes being thrown today. I think the pattern selection is like probably right where it needs to be. I heard some complaints on the concourse about, oh, they're so easy. It's like I don't think you want team games being 650 to 720. Like I don't think you want those. You want these kids to be loose and have fun. And at the end of the day, it is still a bit of a shot-making game. They don't have to be super hard.
Yeah, and I think IHSB has done a good job with the state tournament. We had a run there for probably 2 or 3 years where they were really, really hard. They went from way too easy to really, really hard, and you're watching, boys and girls shooting 160 to win, and it just doesn't reflect maybe truly how good the player is. I think they've done a good job with making it balanced between, okay, if you throw it well, you're going to shoot a good game, but you still have to throw it well. But we're not going to give you everything. I remember the one year where E.J. Tackett bowled Matt Sanders, and both players could throw it literally anywhere they wanted. Now, those 2 guys are different. I mean, but but still, we've had some years like that where it wasn't so much about how good you were at making shots. You could just throw it anywhere you wanted and strike. But I think Indiana High School bowling has done a good job kind of balancing that out. You don't want it to be too difficult and just not enjoyable to watch, and the players are constantly, burning or frying out, right?
Yeah, there's a sweet spot there. The sweet spot changes based off of skill level. Of course, I think in college it should probably be a little bit harder than we have been the last couple of years. But in high school bowling, I think they've got it perfect. You don't want to shut out any style because high school bowling, various styles. And I think in the past, it was like they were trying to get urethane out of play, and to do that, they were using too much volume, and then they were eliminating the lower rev rate people. So I think they're doing it super, super well now. And you want it to be a bit of a shot maker. You don't want to be on the house shot, close your eyes and shoot 240, but you also don't want Brooklyn's to determine a state championship. And when they get so hard, a luck factor does start to creep in.
Well, Zoe has now thrown a 4-bagger. She had a chance to shoot 230 out here. And Addison Boyle's trying to convert one of the most difficult spares, and she does in bowling.
I would just hit the reset.
Yeah, especially on super hard patterns. You're like, boy, how? When I was the state masters and I leave the 2, 4, 7, 8, and I'm like, how am I going to make this?
Throw straight at the 2-pin and pray.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Not easy at all. We're watching scoring here too, and Indiana back on 25 and 26, back way up on top of their specific game here. As you know, so many of these players that we were just talking as we don't know the Kentucky players as well as we do. We're trying to commentate on everything, but we just know so much more about the Indiana player. We see him a lot more, obviously, since we're from Indiana, but some of these Kentucky players are quite, Noah Wright, solid. He's got, I think, a 790 high series, 300 games under his resume. Isaiah here on our pair throws it well from Kentucky, Isaiah Willis, and there are some players here in Kentucky.
Yeah, most recently, last weekend, they had the Kentucky Youth Open. I know Jordan Bowerly came down and bowled it. I think he finished 5th. Hayden Fowler, who's on the Kentucky team here on 21, he ended up winning the event. And, yeah, there are some players down here. It's we've been trying to recruit out of Kentucky for a while now for Marion, and we haven't been super successful. But then this year we've pulled 3 out. We've got Hayden, Joey Adams, and Phoenix Newkirk coming. And hopefully it starts opening the floodgates because, the kids can bowl down here.
Well, and we were obviously in the bowling community, you pay attention to what's going on. And obviously Louisville really hit hard by the closing of Executive this past year. And, you hate to see a town lose as many lanes. And that house has held so many historic events, and obviously, I'm trying to think that the Derby for years and years, where it would bring bowlers from all over the Midwest into Louisville, and you always hate to see good centers go away, because you're not building new ones.
No.
And so yeah, it's always difficult, and obviously, the proprietor here at Dixie Bowl has done a phenomenal job of hosting this event and really trying to build the high school programs up. And that's what you need for the sport. You need the proprietors heavily involved and passionate about the youth of our great sport.
We've been fortunate in Indiana. The proprietor that comes to mind, Dave Small. I mean, I think he is just terrific. He is so bought into youth bowling, and his centers are immaculate, and he really is invested in the sport and in the growth of the sport. And I love going to his centers, and whenever proprietors are fully bought in, I always think about Arrowhead as well. I think I bowled well in Arrowhead once in my entire life, but I love that place. It's beautiful, and we've had some college success there, but personally, I think I think I've made one Scratch Classic cut in my life.
Well, you have a former player on your program that loves going into Mike Albie's Arrowhead Bowl, and that would be one Matt Sanders.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, I think he could throw it between the legs and probably shoot 240 in that house. But yeah, there's just certain guys that just love going there.
Well, Mike Albie's, I think a lefty, I don't know. There's something about Mike Albie's Bowling Center and a left-hander having them really good in there. It makes sense. It clicks in my head.
Yeah.
One of the best of all time, greatest of all time, and then old Matt Sanders in there striking for Scratch Classic. Man, those events.
Yeah.
Scratch Classic. I love those.
Well, we've had some unbelievable finals in that event. Some really, to be honest with you, probably one of the most exciting tournaments every year that we have on our live stream is the Scratch Classic, and we've had some unbelievable finals where you had E.J. Tackett winning, you've had Matt Sanders win, we had McCune, and I think it was Tackett and somebody, or I can't remember who all, but it was like 3 major players from the state and even nationally are right here in front of us bowling a 2-game total pin match to see who wins. Gene Perez has been in the finals a bunch there. I mean, we've just had some really, if you go to our YouTube channel, just scroll down and see some of the Scratch Classic finals we've had. And matter of fact, I believe, and Chad can correct me if I'm wrong, but the most viewed ever was a Sanders-Tackett final, I believe, at the Scratch Classic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it was either last year or the year before. The final was like Sanders, Ryan Burton, Gene, and Bailey. It's like,
yeah.
This is a regional final here, an Indiana event. It's just immaculate.
last year, Matt Sanders did not bowl because he took his dad to a Indianapolis Colts Buffalo Bills football game. But we had Ryan Burton, we had Gabe Castro was in the final. Chad, do you remember who else was in there?
I'm looking.
But it came down to the 10th frame.
Yeah, Ryan Burton was. Did you mention that when he was in it?
Yeah, it came down to the 10th frame of between 3 players that all had a chance to win, and it's just so much drama. I think Ryan Burton finished second. Was that, or did he win?
Yeah, we had three Purdue bowlers: Burton, Castro,
Bailey Maverick.
Then the other Purdue bowler, Otto.
Yeah, Otto Macia.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah. It's also, I always find it so crazy that in that format, it seems like nobody ever runs away.
Yeah.
Like it ends up 2-3 guys have a shot with a frame to go, and with the quality of the field, I expect like somebody to shoot 540 for 2 and just like they're just kind of coasting to a win, and it never happens. It's just the quality is just so high.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch.
It's funny because the top 2 performing videos that we have, the most performing was the 2019 the Indiana Scratch Classic Finals, had E.J. Tackett, Matt Sanders in that match, and then right below that was 2021, the match you talked about, Jordan, had E.J., Kevin McCune, Bailey Maverick, Gene Perez.
I mean, think of that. That could be a step ladder on a national tournament.
What a bad state to be like a very middling amateur player like myself. It's just, like, I feel like I would probably be a better bowler in other states.
The only thing I can hang my hat on, and I never give EJ a hard time about it, but I did knock him out of the state masters once in the. He beat me somewhere, and I was in the losers bracket, and he was, and I knocked him out. But yeah, that was my only claim to fame, I think, against him.
I don't know if I've.
And he was really young, though.
I don't know if I've ever beat him. He was like a year younger than me growing up. Like, I don't know.
But here's the thing about EJ: unbelievable talent, a unicorn, right? And one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. And he's just been such a great ambassador for not only the sport, but for the state of Indiana.
I'll never forget one of the craziest stories, and I'm not super proud to tell the story, but so we were bowling Masters and Queens finals at Expo Bowl. We were on the B side, and there was a lane machine malfunction. This was in 2010. We were on I bowled a match on 79-80, and I bowled really bad. I'm not going to tell you the score. It was really bad.
We don't have to get into details.
I don't think those archives are anywhere, so it was bad. Well, EJ came over, and he watched us at the end. He got the scouting report. What it appeared was like lane 80, something happened. Did it run out of oil? The ball hooked as soon as it hit the lane. And then 79 was somewhat normal-ish, but 80 hooked as soon as it hit the lane. So they were just not fun. EJ goes to his bag, and he grabs this, like, shiny pink hammer. If anybody's watched EJ forever, they know this ball. And he pulls it out, and next thing you know, he is just, like, firing it up 1. Like, legitimately 1. Like, not the new age, like, 6-1. Or no, firing it. And shoots, like, 206 on this, like, just impossible pair. And I think his opponent shot like 140 because nobody else could do what he did. And it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. He's just an anomaly even back then. I don't think people realize that he can do that. They just see him on TV all the time, just like poking it. But
yeah, and it just, you're blessed. You can teach that, but you really can't teach that, right? The way he gets out of the ball effortlessly with 520 rev rate. I mean, it's just, you just can't. That's just a God-given ability, and kudos to him for really taking that talent and running with it. But again, I think EJ's strengths are just how good of a person he is, willing to talk to anyone, and a great ambassador for the game. And really, we're lucky to have him in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, we went up to Bluffton to sign Avery Hunt, who bowls out of his center. She's coming to Marion next year, and he was like checking people in. It was the week after he won the U.S. Open, and he was giving people lanes, handing out shoes, filling up drinks, had his U.S. Open trophy behind him with the check. And I'm like, dude, go somewhere. Like, go. But he's just working, just regular guy.
That's what he is. Natalie always says his favorite days are out in the yard on a tractor or something, just working around, doing guy things, right? But look at the scoring here, too, on right in front of us. Jordan Marshall, 679, Tyler Cahill, 717, and Micah David, 593, and Jordan Bowerly, 689. They got a good chance here possibly to take over or win the individual team competition here. And then Noah Wright coming back with 713 after I believe he had like a 170 or 60 start. And
169.
Yeah, yeah, and shooting 713, 276, 268 finish. So fantastic bowling here. And as we're wrapping up, I know, sure you still have some networking to do this afternoon as well, but always appreciate you stepping in here and chatting with us. We enjoy your time. And but yeah, what a great event here. And anytime you can showcase the best in the state of Kentucky and Indiana, and then they compete against one another, you can't do anything wrong there, right?
Right. No, once again, just a great event. A lot of fun, and it's fun watching these kids work together, battle things out. Like Noah battling there, 169. You could just quit. Like, you could just stop really trying, but he continued to try to figure it out and turn 169 starting to 713. I mean, it's probably somebody no Indiana bowlers wanted to run into here this first round of individual match play. Yeah,
when you're looking at where he's playing the lane, and you have a little bit of hold, but you have hook outside, he's got a nice little game to play that area. Definitely what I would say is an old school stroker from that standpoint. Really kind of a dying breed. It seems like in today's game, the stroker has really has had a tough go because you see so much dry on the outside. So the guys with no hand can play there, but the stroker can't. And then you got to migrate left or right if you're left or right-handed, and then you don't have enough because there's so much volume in the middle, right? It's really been the kids that can play super straight, and obviously the two-handers have changed the game, and for proprietors too, because you have to oil the lanes in anticipation of these guys coming in and just chewing up the lane surface.
Yeah, and you're right. It just alienates that middle ground of players where if you're super firm and straight, you can stay in the dry. But if you're in the middle, like, you end up moving into where all the two-handers and higher rev rates start. Then you're just kind of trapped because if you over-move to get on top, you don't have enough ball motion. It's an art. It is certainly an art being able to strike more as a stroker type player nowadays.
So what does Jordan Gray do now here as we are in midpoint of June? What do you guys do for Marion, and how do you progress through this summer season?
Yeah, so a lot of recruiting. Still, we love getting to events. We're looking forward to Junior Gold coming up, getting out, talking to people, doing a bit more individual coaching. So we're doing a bit more lessons, things like that. But my Marion kids are already getting annoyed because I'm sending emails consistently about what we need to do to prepare for next year. Completely different team next year for us. We graduated, we took 8 to ITCs and we graduated 5 of them. So the team's going to look a little bit different. And I'm just trying to motivate my guys, telling them that be hungry, because it's really anybody's game. But yeah, a lot of recruiting, a lot of coaching, and honestly living a little bit outside of the bowling center, enjoying being a dad a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It
fun.
definitely changes you, doesn't it?
Oh man, the time just evaporates. Like he's 1 now, and I'm just, where did the year go?
Yeah.
Like, what a year it was.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a senior and a junior in high school, and it seems like, yesterday we were, 8 or 9 years old and doing nothing. Now both kids are driving, and yeah, it's crazy. It goes by fast, but it's a great, it's a wonderful journey, and obviously parenthood is a great thing. And but yeah, and I was one too. I never forced my kids into bowling. I wanted them to do their own thing. If they wanted to bowl, I was here to help. Unfortunately, both of mine really never got into the sport. They got into other things, but obviously, the one thing nice about bowling, and Chad and I were talking about it at the beginning of the broadcast, is really you don't have to be this 6'3" uber athletic kid. Bowling accepts all shapes and sizes and all athletic ability, and you could be real tall or real short and still be a great player at this sport, and that's one thing I've always loved about it. And the other aspect too is just, I've known you for a while, but it's just one big family. Mm-hmm. And when you go back to these events, whether it's the state masters or whatever, maybe some people you haven't seen in a while, it's just like you've never, you first time met her, you've known them forever. It's a lot of fun, and you appreciate the relationships that you've built through the course of your career as a player.
Yeah, just here on the concourse, I've seen people I've known forever, and I've met some new people today, and the interactions are almost always the same. Like whether you've known somebody 10 years, like you said, or you just met somebody today, it's fun to have these candid conversations and just get to know people. And another sport like bowling accepts all. Baseball is very similar. I still watch a lot of baseball. Yeah. My son's not very, unfortunately, he's only 5'8" or so. I told him, I said, you're not going to be blessed with Bryce Harper's size. But yeah, it's especially in the youth part of it. I think we're 16U now, but we have all types of kids, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the parents and the players, and it's amazing of these kids I've known that's on our team. I've known them since they were 10 or 11, and now here they are, young men, and just tells you how fast time goes by, and enjoy every minute of it. Yeah. I in a perfect world, I'd love for Oliver to play some baseball. Like my brother still plays.
Yeah, he's
quite
AAA
with the Rangers.
Yeah. How's his season going?
Good. So they just signed Craig Kimbrell to a minor league deal. So he actually pitched the inning before Peyton 2 days ago on Thursday night, and it's just like Peyton said it was like bizarre. Like he followed first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, maybe one of the greatest relieving pitchers or closers of all time, right?
Yeah. And he's trying to get his career going. Craig trying to get his velocity's down. He's Father Time is undefeated.
He never loses.
Yeah. So
now your brother, is he a back end rotation guy?
Yeah, so he's a reliever.
Okay.
He did get a spot start last week. They had a guy get called up, and so he got a spot start, went like 3 innings. But yeah, he's a reliever. When he pitches in Mexico, he's a closer down there. He was a closer everywhere else. In AAA, they don't really have defined roles. They just kind of pitch when they pitch, and you get an inning maybe, you get 2 innings. They try to get everybody 2 appearances a week, and yeah, it took him a little bit for him to realize he belonged in AAA, because that was the highest he's ever gone. He played AA with the Royals a couple years back, and But yeah, he got his legs under him. I think his ERA is like 2.8.
Solid.
Yeah,
He's in the Reds organization, right?
Royals.
Royals
No,
now.
I'm sorry. He's Rangers.
Rangers now.
A lot of
They
R's.
bounce around
Yeah.
a lot, right?
He was Royals, then independent ball, then he was with the Reds. He tore his lat with the Reds, so he didn't really get a pitch at all, which was tough for me because I'm a huge Reds fan. And then now he's with the Rangers, and we've been really happy with how they've treated him. And he started in Double-A and he pitched really well, so they promoted him. It was nice to see that was actually possible.
Yeah.
So
Quite cool though.
Yeah. I love baseball.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. A lot of people don't like the pace of play of it, but I love the pace of play, and it's just different sport. It's not all about running real fast and hitting somebody or jumping real high. It's just hitting a baseball, hitting a 98-mile-an-hour fastball has to be one of the hardest things to do in any sport. And
they move all over.
Yeah, and you appreciate the talent and ability of those upper players. Well, we have like one pair wrapping up or two pairs wrapping up, and everybody else is pretty much done. We're going to wrap things up here from the team portion here of the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars. We'll be back this afternoon with the double elimination singles portion of the event here from Dixie Bowl in Louisville, Kentucky. Jordan Gray, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for having me. It was awesome.
All right, head coach of Marion here with us here in the broadcast booth. We thank you for watching the team portion. We'll come back in the afternoon. Obviously, we'll have scores from the overall, and then we'll have the double elimination single matches here until we get to our stepladder finals here this afternoon. We thank you for watching the Indiana-Kentucky All-Stars here on Savage Bowling TV. We'll be back this afternoon. So long, everyone.